Hello, family. So here we are. We're going to finish up this part 3 here. Excuse my disheveled experience. Disheveled. What's the word? Looking like you haven't slept in 3 months, because that's pretty much the case with me right now. And you can see we're still having this very muggy, very heavy barometric pressure stuff, and at the same time all the flowers and everything are coming back to life. So there's a lot of pollen in the air, a lot of irritants for your eyes, nose, and throat, and no electricity. Did I mention that? Yeah, we've been without electricity. Anyway, I just want to really give more props to this guy, because what really happened in the bank today was there was the three of us, the three individual sparks of consciousness, that form sort of this trinity, to project it into the dream, but into the unified field. But that's what happened in the bank today. The field was upset. There was a little bit of pushback, as there sometimes needs to be. Of course, never initiate violence, but if you've been suffering with this violence for 514 years, in reality, if you want to be more clear about the Babylonian system that drives all of this aforementioned thugs on the side of the road and all the accoutrement revenue streams of those that govern our minds. And it's having some impact, because I just had to really reflect on this again and illustrate just how brave this man was to do this. Mexicans, I cannot speak. I have a different experience. A slightly different experience I have with these folks that they call federal police. But that's my perspective based on my avatar's experience with these, or interaction with these guys. Mexicans don't usually have such good interactions with military police. They got a pretty nasty reputation from what I understand. And because they're national police. Oh well, and the ego gets more and more inflated with each meter made. And then maybe the guy who gets his own vehicle to stop people in the streets, to the guy who gets called on, to the state level, to the national level, whatever, federal level. So the ego gets a little more, stoked. I get it. But yeah, these guys can really, excuse me, like I said, there's a lot of stuff in the air here. These guys can really, they can really ruin your life. And one of the cops started taking a video of my friend while he was making references to his mother and hurling other insults. So, like this one cop, he's yelling at him, and the other one comes and takes a video of it. Now we have video evidence of you being abusive to a federal police officer. And when he was describing the story to me, I just pictured myself there and like really my jaw was dropping. Like, I can't believe you did that. I mean, I'm proud of you for doing it, but and you know, my friend, he's like an assistant manager in the bank. You know, you gotta go tick all their blocks and kiss all their ass and lick all their boots to get all their credentials to work in a bank, and you know, make slightly more than minimum wage. And if you get like a black mark on your record, you know, if you get arrested, there goes your job. And so this guy, and he's got kids, I'm sure, right? A wife and kids. So for him to do this was just, well, to say that it was brave and courageous is a mild understatement. Because once they throw you, like if they wanted to, if these guys had wanted to, you know, and maybe I guess in a way I was there because I have a different way of handling these guys. Of course, no, I'm not gonna say those words out of my mouth. And it wouldn't even sound right anyway. It has to be coming from a Mexican to really, you know, some of these references that they make when you're getting cussed out, or when you're, you know, when I hear them cussing each other out and I'm like, what did you just say? You don't want to know. Yes, I do. But I can't repeat it, so. No. I think I was stopped once. Yeah. No, I don't know. I guess it's just a different field of influence. So it just ends up in, you know, a little bit different outcome. But either way, you know, I'm happy to see that someone's, you know, taking the opportunity while they can, before it's all outsourced to artificial intelligence and there's cameras on every street corner recording fines against your license plates that you find nothing about until it comes time to renew your license plates. And then you have to pay double or triple or quadruple because there's interest fees and late payments associated with it. At least this way, with a human interaction, you can have a face-to-face interaction and get it taken care of with cash, or if he wants to write out a ticket. I've never seen a cop write out a ticket, really. It's mostly just cash, exchanging hands. You know, because you got to do what you got to do. If you got a bigger, larger criminal parasitical organization overhead and they're stealing, you know, by way of taxes and inflation and devaluation of the currency, if they're stealing, you know, increasingly larger and larger amounts of your purchasing power well, this last 4 years has been super intense. So it's reaching that point, you know, where the people don't really have anything else left to lose. Like there's no more, I got an extra $5 in my pocket for you, Mr. Uniformed Police Officer, here you go. People are getting a little bit more touchy about these kinds of things, you could say, and, you know, in the divine order. So, it's good that we can have these conversations with our brothers or even sisters. Hopefully not. Hopefully you don't run into any female police officers. You know, because those ones are, well, I'm not going to make any overall judgments or anything. I'm just saying the nature of the female psychology is to really want to inflict violence, and all the rage inside comes out and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's just my personal observation, but anyhow, it's good that we can communicate with our fellow humans on the side of the road still at this point and say, look, like I like to say, your clothes, the ones that you're wearing, are those magical clothes, right? I mean, they're magic. And they just feel like, what the hell is this? What are you talking about? And was it, oh, because, like, I have a question, because these are my clothes, and if you were to wear, say, similar to this clothes and stand on the street and stop people for they never committed any crime, they're not suspected of any crime, but you just stop them and delay whatever progress that they were making in their day or whatever they had to do, and demand money from them on the side of the road. If you were just wearing, like, say, clothes the same as me right now, would somebody stop for you? Would they engage with you, or would they just, like, try to dodge you as you're in the middle of the road, waving them down or chase? Would they stop for you if you drove up behind them in a POV and told them to stop? No. So the car is magical as well, but let's just stick with the clothes. So if you don't have the right to do that in these kinds of clothes, then, but you do have the right to do that in those kinds of clothes, then I guess the clothes are magic, right? Just keep it light and humorous, but get to the point, right? Get them to start, get the wheels to go, right? And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I really don't. Give it a try. I'm not going to recommend the way my friend did it today at all, ever. That's, well, but if, I don't know. Maybe I was there. Maybe we were already doing a Trinity thing in the car, because the masculine side does need to come out now, for real. Anyhow, with all humility, I don't want to sound like I'm in any way, what do you call it, tooting my own horn or anything like that. I just wanted to share this for the purpose of inspiration. Yeah, that's it. It's basically the essence of the channel, is to show a different way, perhaps give another perspective, look at a different outcome, consider something else in the field of possibilities, and stand up for yourself, because you have the right and responsibility to do that. If your heart's in alignment and you're not trying to seek material gain from others, or you're not trying to, like, dodge natural law or any of that, and you stick to your principles, I think, well, I don't think, but it feels like it's getting more I don't know. What do you think, family? What does it feel like it's getting more easy to connect if we dare take that chance? If we dare to flip the script and not cower in our cars as we're being violently accosted? Well, I don't really know anything, first of all. That's all I know, is that I don't know anything. But I have observed some things, and it's given me some perspectives. And I'm going to share that with you in a separate video, if I may. But suffice to say, water is consciousness, right? Everybody's familiar with Dr. Emoto's work, right? Water is consciousness. It picks up everything that's in the field. So, what is ice, if not consciousness that's been put into stasis? It's not flowing, it's not moving like water, it's frozen, right? And let's say if given the amount of water that's on this planet, let's just say, if there had been some movement, shifting of the poles, let's say, that caused the movement of the water to rapidly shift from being dispersed throughout into a sideways kind of, with the north and the south pole being frozen. Well, then it's not just a theory, but it's a fact that the water that was placed, the consciousness that was placed into stasis at that time of that cataclysm, would be therefore frozen or frozen in time. Stupid Walt Disney movie. I think they did some shit about that. I don't know. Please don't watch Walt Disney stuff. That's just racket. But for real, and I saw that ice melting, yo. I did. I saw it from my own eyes. I went down there. Yes, I was. I was down in the deep south. Mm-hmm. Sure did go there with all kinds of very important people aboard. Diplomats, of course. Diplomats, luminaries. I don't know. Astronauts. The only one I really had any genuine respect for on the boat was the captain and his first mate. And of course the chef and everybody in the kitchen. Everybody else was just so, wow, it was difficult. Anyway, it was a boatload of us in there, and we went down to Antarctica and we saw some things. I saw some things. I saw some ice like I've never seen ice in my life. It was very different. And I saw how much it was melting. It was evidenced in the nest of the penguins, amongst other things. So, what if that ice is melting? What if that consciousness is coming out of stasis? Where does it go? It leaves the Antarctic Sea, and it hits the Drake Passage, and it splits off like a Vesica Pisces, like a serpent, like a DNA, whatever analogy you want to make there. Tree of life, serpent going around the tree. The water. And it disperses, and this toroidal field comes down and goes through all the mountains and the rivers and the lakes and the streams. Like I said, it's just the most intelligent design ever. Mother Earth and the sacred water, huh? So I look around now and I see the sky is absolutely drenched. I mean, it's like you can hear probably the rain in the background. The skies are just completely full. It's gone up and it's filtered and it's coming back down as the father rain, and at the same time as melding with the consciousness that's contained within the bodies of water that we, have had that weren't frozen, right? And all of the pollution that we put into that water, in the cycle, all of the things that water touches is in that ocean, and the salt kind of works to churn it and clean it and stuff like that, but the consciousness is still there, right? So it's melding, and that's what I saw in a dream after I went to Antarctica, was that the consciousness too were going to come together in the form of the water, and was going to have a lot of dissonance reflected or emanated in, just like the girl back there, just like the dog over there is helping me, like chaos, confusion, kind of, and the ultimate act on the stage of Kali Yuga, where, and how that unfolds, however we choose, and then, and I had suggested for folks, if they did accidentally download any viruses in their corona chakra, to just ask that 150,000-year-old, roughly, on a scale of concept of linear time, we could say, roughly, just to throw it in some kind of perspective. Back in the day when anti-gravity vehicles were the norm. Of course they were. But to ask for that consciousness to land directly on your corona chakra and then light up your pineal gland and open up your, what is it called, 10,000 petal lotus or something like that, you know, and then start to receive all the downloads and everything. So, yeah. So yeah, why not plant a seed? Why not plant a seed 4 years ago and wait for this time of El Nino, this little boy child, the sun, the fire. Because that's what the summer represents. The summertime that we're in now represents, you know. But we have this converse kind of thing going on where it looks like it's the end of the rainy season. It's like everything's super saturated. But not at all, because the rains just began. But it's El Nino. They're not coming from the mountains. They're coming from the sea. So we're into this sort of vapor canopy, if you will. This, like, almost looks like you just reach out and touch the water. You can touch the water. It's falling from the skies. It's misty everywhere, but it looks like you could just reach out and grab those clouds and say, what's in there? And open it up and see what's in the field. Because, it's just that time. So yeah, big shout out to my friends in the bank working with me in the spiritual realm and beyond, even down here to the avatar level, to have some influence in the trajectory. Because, you know, once something starts getting on a trajectory, it, you know, over time and space, it will, time and space, whatever that is, but over the course of its movement, the theory is it's like it will get like faster and faster. Like, if I play the video game 100 times, I can navigate through the first 12 screens with my eyes closed, kind of thing. So I don't need such periods of lull in between receiving the experiences that I need to receive in order to proceed along my spiritual evolutionary path and fulfill my soul contract. Does that make sense? I hope. So, but it's what but if that's in the field for these guys to stand up for themselves like that, which is just, I would have 4 years ago, I would have just never seen anywhere in Mexico anybody do anything like that. Never. This is a big deal. What he did with the cop stuff today. Grateful. Because, you know, then it, you know, or you could refer to it like, say, from an aerodynamics perspective, or terminal velocity of the fuselage. Like, your plane can't travel any faster than this, right? Otherwise it's going to start to fall apart. So if you can apply that or transpose that onto the collective consciousness, right, in this period of time that we're going through, this Pachacutec, this apocalyptic kind of, or precursor to the apocalyptic, then you could say we at some point reach terminal velocity, and it becomes either a state of you just keep falling, and you deploy the parachute and make a nice, soft, relatively easy landing, depending on how you hit the ground, and how fast the wind's blowing, and lots of other stuff. You know, you could break some ankles and things like that. So, but chances of surviving are a lot better if you don't deploy the parachute. Does that make sense? So, like, if you could apply like a 3-6-9 perspective to it. Just think of the 3 as your washing machine, first starts going, and it's kind of moving around slowly and squirting and getting the clothes a little damp and stuff. And then, it just kind of, and then it gets to the second cycle, which would be the 6 in the 369 spiral, and it gets to that point, and it gets sort of like faster. The washing machine is like but it's kind of a steady rhythm, right? Kind of the point in the middle. And then it gets to the spin cycle, so you could refer to the 9 as the spin cycle. And so when you're getting to the spin cycle, it's going really fast, right? And time's flying by, as they say. And and at the same time, all the water is being sucked out of the clothing with this fast turning, right? This centrifuge is pushing everything against with the force of gravity. And it's sucking the water out, and the water's draining down the tube, and we don't know where it goes, but it's no longer with us in our washing machine, and the clothes, it's gone, right? So it moves over there and starts another cycle. So, if your machine is not programmed to know when the certain amount of time that's required to get the clothes, spin cycle dried, it'll just keep going forever until the machine blows up, right? It's the same kind of concept. So what there means, and I'm not suggesting resistance. I'm not suggesting resistance. Look, I don't even like that word. What I'm just suggesting is to throw something else in the field to kind of, I don't want to say slow down this devolutionary sort of spiral into a dystopian future, let's say hypothetically, but rather I want to put something in the field, to counter or to offer another possibility other than this one. So yeah, it's not easy going around and confronting people and being threatened and tackled, and yeah, I have been physically accosted. And that was my experience here in Mexico for the first, couple years, like, at least. And I know it was much worse in other countries. I've heard my friends talk about some things that were really quite horrible about what they did to the divergents who were daring to stand up during the operation to seize the Corona chakra. So yeah, but it's those ones that did, if not for them. So give thanks next time you run into a troublemaker and somebody that's not quite complying with the statist ideology and the, yes, you must pay your taxes, and of course we must fork over 420 trillion pesos every single day to drive on ridiculous concrete and asphalt. Using antiquated combustion engine vehicles. If you're one of those. But if you're listening to what I'm talking about here on the channel, if you're tuned in, probably you're not one of those, but even if you are, that's fine too. No judgments. Can't. But I can take actions. I can drop seeds. I can emanate. I can speak words. I can have my own dreams. I can create and take part in my own sacred rituals. And I can say no to the rituals that I find to be not so sacred. Yes, I guess it was not really like a, not like a, oh, pat on the back, good job. Not like that. It was a different feeling. It was like, well, yeah, I don't know. It was a mixture of feelings when the guy told me that today. At first I was like, I am so proud of you, and it was like this motherly kind of good job, child kind of thing, and then it was like beyond that, it was like from another perspective of the feminine, which is thank you for being the masculine that stands up to bullies and protects those of us who are, more physically vulnerable, the elder, the women, the children. And then it moved into an even greater sense of gratitude because it was like, this is literally the dream that I was the only one carrying this torch 4 years ago. And had I not done that, I don't know how it would have turned out. I can only speculate. I won't. But whatever way I could speculate that it did or it didn't. But in this case, it felt like it did. Because, yeah, it did actually, because after he got through apologizing, and I told him, and he said, you don't need to apologize. Then his other friend chimed in and he said, Teddy, yeah, I remember you. And he brought something up. He brought it up. What I did in that bank 4 years ago, how I stood up for myself. He's like, yeah, and I don't know, I don't know. If it's inspiring, I don't know, maybe. If it is, it's my blessing to share it, and thanks for listening to the rant. Again, my apologies for the, I don't want to say, I really don't give a shit, but, some people be like, damn, Teddy, you look like hell. Well, you try to go on 3 months without sleep, and no fan to sleep at night, and it's 95 degrees with humidity. Maybe not that hot just yet. It was a couple of weeks ago, though. First time the power went out. It's much, much cooler now. Maybe only 85. That's Fahrenheit. What is that in Celsius? I don't know. It's somewhere between 28 and 30, I reckon. Something around there. But yeah, it's and not that I want to apologize for that, but just if anybody's like, damn, she looks like shit. Yes, and that's just sleeping arrangements, never mind. And the other things I'm covering on the channel about the encounters with certain psychopaths in Mexico and stuff. Yeah, just, that's a lot. Spinning really fast. Trying to take it all down into oblivion. Yeah. But, que sera, sera. I'm just here to be a little sensor in the machine that says, hey, check the clothes to see if they're dry. You might can turn off the spin cycle and slowly come to a kind of a finish on the stage, and then leave the stage, actors, bring on some new actors, and start a cycle again. But with a different perspective. And obviously much more potential in the field, let's say, to develop your human abilities, or your so-called, what do you call those? Superhero, Superman, superhero, right? I think that's what they call superhero. Superhuman, let's call it, superhuman abilities. The DNA codes. being turned back on, restored. And of course, the consciousness which is coming out of stasis is also available for us. Oh, everything is in the field. And the question is do we stand up and say, you know what? Don't really like that idea. Let's try it another way. Or to even know that there might be another way, or suppose that there might be another way, or dream that there might be another way. We are the dreamers. Yep. We are the dream. And the dreamers. Sacred Mother Earth, children of Mother Earth. All our dreams come true all the time. Always influencing the field. Always. In what manner? That's the question. And in the confidence of knowing that despite what it might appear to look like at this moment, that maybe one day you can have a conversation like I had today in the bank with my friends. Maybe one day you can see some other manifestation for your eyeballs to take a picture of the dream which you had sown previously. Without expectation, because expectations are just disappointments waiting to happen, right? And in consideration of the 7 future generations. Yeah. It's possible. Anything's possible. Ciao for now, family. I will see you in the dream world. Bye-bye.